Good morning. Week 14 NFL DFS. A lot going on this week. It's a lot better slate than last week. We've got the last of the bye weeks here. So the Giants, 49ers, the Panthers, and the Patriots are on bye. Is the last week before fantasy football playoffs begin. So if you are battling and grinding it out, we are praying for you this week. But we got a big DFS slate. Jameson, Hutchison here, the greatest of all time, Joel Wirth, also here to share his knowledge and expertise. How are you doing this morning?
Good. We were talking backstage about skank week last week was about Alec Pierce and Adonai Mitchell being the top receivers and a defense being the top overall scoring option. Dude, just wait. Like Roger Goodell was talking about adding a second game to Black Friday. Like as soon as like next year, we could have a 9-game Thursday or Thanksgiving DFS main slate with just being as skankerific as it was last week. Just unimaginable horror.
Well, when you just think it can't get any worse, it definitely can. So I can't wait for that. Tyler Huntley will be quarterback 1 for that select next year. So
it was almost Tyrod Taylor.
And we'll get to AD Mitchell here in a minute. I've spent like the last 2 months bagging on him, and he only person with a 100-yard game last week. So things are going to get better. I believe we have 8 games in the early window. We've got 3 in the late window. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you have any fantasy football questions, we'd be happy to answer those as well. So make sure if you haven't already, to like and subscribe, and we will kick things off with, I think, one of the more interesting games as far as real life. And then on the slate, I'm going to pull up the solver here, but we've got the Indianapolis Colts, who have not won in Jacksonville since 2014. We saw Matt Ryan basically die in Jacksonville a couple of years ago. So it's just like a house of horrors for the Colts. They go on the road to play Jacksonville, which seems to pique a lot of interest in a lot of the lineups here. So what do you have here for the Colts and the Jaguars?
This game, the over-under has dropped a couple points on this game because of the rain that's projected in Jacksonville, I guess. I don't know why. I love this game for DFS. So we've got, this is a Indianapolis 2-point road favorites here. The line has dropped, or the total has dropped from 47.5 to 45.5 this morning, which is kind of crazy, but 23.75 implied for the Colts, 21.75 implied for Jacksonville. I'm just going to start by saying these are 2 of the top 4 teams in fantasy points allowed to tight ends. So I'm going to be playing a lot through Tyler Warren and Brenton Strange today. And I love this game. Of the passing games for both these teams today, I think they can put up some points. But I am kind of fading Jonathan Taylor and fading the Travis Etienne. I'm just kind of fading the running game in both these teams.
Yeah, I'll just line it up here with the tight ends because I like them too. Tyler Warren ends up being 6,300 on FanDuel. And Brenton Strange, I talked about him a lot last week. I feel like I was a little ahead of the train there. He's 5,400 on FanDuel. DraftKings, it's going to be the same thing. Brenton Strange seems like he is Trevor Lawrence's number 1 guy. I don't like Trevor Lawrence. I think he has stunk, but he has been really good against the Colts for whatever reason. So I definitely think he's viable, but that is not a sneaky suggestion. I think people are going to be on him. Brenton Strange, 3,900, and Tyler Warren, 5K over on DraftKings. Jonathan Taylor is interesting. He's a little cheaper, but he's still not cheap enough. I mean, he is 9,700. He's still the running back that has that, high-end price tag. He's also got the high-end ceiling compared to the rest of these guys. And if you believe in the rain and all that stuff, I guess it can be viable. I don't think he's going to get played today. I think people are going to play Tyler Warren and probably going to play Trevor Lawrence. And, as far as stacks goes, if you play Trevor Lawrence, I'm assuming you're going to play it with Brenton Strange and Jacoby Myers. I don't think are you going to have any interest in Brian Thomas Jr. today?
A little bit as a contrarian option, but yeah, mostly it's, I do think there's a chance that he kind of gets back into the offense, but yeah, right now you got to assume that it's going through Brenton Strange and Jacoby Myers.
Yeah. And Jacoby Myers is like a low, I guess like a higher floor, low ceiling type of guy. He's never a guy.
He's more a cash game guy.
Yeah, he's not somebody that I'm just excited to play. Brian Thomas Jr., I guess we do have to bring him up. 6,200 on FanDuel. DraftKings, he's 5,900. Seems like he's turned out to being the clear-up guy, or the clear-out guy for this offense, which is kind of a shame, considering what we saw last year with McCorkle, where he went off and won people fantasy championships. But it looks pretty dire for him.
big picture, like once you get past those top like 4 receivers, I mean, is there anybody that you like? There just isn't. Nobody I
No.
feel strongly about after you get past like Puka, Devontae, Chase, JSN. There's nobody I feel strongly about. So yeah, why not Brian Thomas Jr.? That's kind of my opinion. And like any receiver, like yeah, Michael Wilson's getting played a lot. Just the receivers after those top 4, just I don't feel strongly about any of them. So yeah, I just want to have some exposure to kind of the entire package.
No, and we talked about it before the show. Talk about the underdog drafts. Like you pick the top 4 receivers, and then everything falls off a cliff. It's Michael Wilson. It's a lot of Luther Burden. You're going to see a lot of that today. We'll get to those guys here in a little bit, but yeah, I think this is a good slate to if you have a strong conviction at wide receiver. I don't think anybody else is probably going to be on it because it is just so ugly. So you can get a little cute with it, especially if you're going to stack and correlate there. So running backs go. We talked about Jonathan Taylor. ETN has kind of fallen off, and Bashal Tootin seems to be getting the goal line work, so I'm not totally sure if I even want to play it. You get no Sauce Gardner for the Colts defense. The pass rush is an abomination once again. Greatest general manager of all time, Chris Ballard, drafts 400 first-round picks for defensive linemen, and they all just stink. So, I mean, I think it sets up, as long as the rain doesn't get too goofy, I do think it sets up really well for Trevor Lawrence. But Travis Etienne, still having like the good workload. It just hasn't really gotten there.
This is just so frustrating for me because I was like early on, I was like, okay, I'm just going to ride Tootin because I just think he's the better player. And then they just completely went to ETN. And then last week they go back to Tootin at the goal line and ETN doesn't do squats when I was on ETN. So I was really frustrated by this entire backfield. So at this point, I'm just staying away.
Yeah. So it seems like Trevor Lawrence is going to be probably play. I'm assuming that you'd rather play Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones today.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So I'll bring those guys. Daniel Jones is 6,200. I think he's interesting in tournaments. I know people are scared about the fibula stuff. I think he's looked fine. I think more of anything, they've just had a really hard schedule, like Houston Texans defense. Yeah, I thought he played pretty well given the circumstances.
They called the game exactly the same last week, except there were no design runs for him. So other than that, yeah, it didn't seem like he was too compromised by the fibula. But yeah, I like Trevor Lawrence a lot in this game. So I'm just much prefer going to Lawrence instead of Daniel Jones. I will have some Daniel Jones exposure just because I like Warren so much, but it's mostly going to be through Trevor Lawrence.
Yep. So Trevor Lawrence, 5,400 on DraftKings, 7,100 on FanDuel. He's definitely going to get played. Before we get off of this game, any interest in defense with the weather? I will say this before I let you. This defensive slate seems very goofy, as always. So I just any interest in this, especially with the weather?
Yeah, with the weather, like Jacksonville, again, we'll talk about this when we get to the Bears. They're not a good defense, but they thrive off of turnovers. And, if the weather can force, some sloppy ball handling from Indianapolis, I could see them getting there through turnovers, like, something like that. So, yeah, I'm interested in and Jacksonville did shut out the Colts. Was it 2 years ago they shut out the Colts in Jacksonville? So, yeah, they like you mentioned earlier, they kind of own the Colts in Jacksonville. So, yeah, I would be interested in the Jaguars here.
Yeah, I am as well. So that should do it for this game. The next game going on here, we've got Seattle going on the road to Atlanta. No Drake London, which really sucks, especially if you were in the fantasy playoffs fighting for your life like I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Seahawks, I mean, coming off a monster fantasy performance last week. So seems like it's going to set up that way again, but how are you doing for the Seahawks and the Falcons?
We've got the Seahawks as 6-point road favorites here. 44.5 is the total. So implied totals of 25.25 for Seattle and 19.25 for Atlanta. I think the third highest total, tied for the third highest total of the week, is the Seahawks. Man, last week, James says better be lucky than good. I was in on Ken Walker. Ken Walker didn't do squat, but because I was in on Ken Walker, I was very heavily invested in the Seahawks defense.
Yep.
And they were the highest scoring option last week. So I actually had a very, very, very no big scores or anything, but a very profitable week. I had like 95% ROI last week, just basically riding the Seahawks defense. It feels like this is a JSN game.
It does.
Atlanta, like it could go either way because Atlanta's just it feels like they're like they lost to the Jets last week. It feels like they're ready to pack it in. Kirk Cousins just ain't going to get there. So it feels like a JSN smash game, especially after just completely no-showing last week. Again, that's the Minnesota effect that, the Packers showed that 2 weeks ago. It's like when you get a two-score lead on them, you're just packing it in because, they can't come from behind. And so it just shuts down the passing game. I want to have some JSN exposure. Even though I don't necessarily love stacking him with Darnold, because I think like JSN could get there without Darnold getting there, because I think this is another game where they could get out to a big lead. Kind of like the Tennessee game a couple of weeks ago, where I was on Ken Walker huge, turned out to be JSN's best game of the year. So that didn't work out for me. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of play this one through JSN, and there's not really much I want to do otherwise in this game. Obviously, Bijan, don't want to have no Bijan exposure, but I just don't love Drake London not being there. Just really, really handicaps that offense. So I think it's just JSN and sprinkling some Bijan for me in this game.
Yeah, I was going to say I really liked JSN this week, and coming off a week where it seems like people are already pretty hesitant to pay the price for him, even though he just keeps continuously smashing.
Right.
And then he has the letdown game, and now there's some games that look a little bit better on paper, and they're going to go this way. And we talked about it. This wide receiver slate is brutal. So having a guy who can break the slate like JSN can, I'm really into him. And I really don't think he's going to get owned today. People don't want to pay the price for him. I think they'd rather pay like Puka and Devonta. Jamar Chase is sitting here. I've seen some Justin Jefferson love. I don't understand why, but I mean, like that realm, and JSN's going to get forgotten about, but we talked about it with the wide receiver slate. So I like him a lot. Kenneth Walker, go ahead.
No, I just to say real quick, when we talked about how kind of gross wide receiver slate is, I would rather just pay up for one or two guys of those top four that I really like, and just go as cheap as possible on the rest of the guys. I don't care. I'll go down all the way down the pay scale, whether it's like to the Bears receivers, to the Packers receivers, just because everybody's gonna be terrified. I'm gonna get JSN. Let me get another top guy, and then just pay down as far as I can with my third receiver. And then there's just no way I'm playing a receiver in the flex this week. It's not happening.
No, I don't think there is any wide receivers that are available for the flex anyway. So Kenneth Walker here ends up in this, like, for whatever reason, he ends up in this mid-tier with RJ Harvey, Swift, Monungai, Aaron Jones. He's probably going to get clicked once again. I think I'm just going to slowly retire from playing Kenneth Walker. I know we got there last week, but I'm so sick of seeing Charbonnet on the goal line. I mean, Kenneth Walker does all the work, and then it's like your boss comes in and claims, that they did all the work that you put into it. And I just kind of tired of it. So I like Kenneth Walker. I think he's going to get played. It's a great spot against Atlanta, who I gave him some props a couple weeks ago. I thought the defense was playing pretty good, and it is falling off a cliff. I mean, it is absolutely terrible. So AJ Barner, tight end flyer. This is probably going to be for some large field stuff. DraftKings, he ends up 3,200. FanDuel, he is 5,300. Probably not my player pool, but none of these wide receivers like Shaheed, he's not startable right now. I mean, that would be a large field play and hope that he catches a bomb. Cooper Kupp is not there, so Darnold is fine. I would only play him with JSN. I think you can get away with the skinny stack here, 7,300. $200 more than Trevor Lawrence on FanDuel, 5,500 on DraftKings. On Atlanta side, if you want to play Bijan, that is fine. I don't love it here. I think unless you're getting dump offs, he'd probably be a DraftKings only play for me because I don't think the touchdowns are coming. I've seen a lot of love for Kyle Pitts, and if Kyle Pitts is going to be chalk at tight end, go find God. What are we? I know. Just come on, guys. This is like my A.D. Mitchell kind of thing from the last month. I know that he's gotten a little bit more work, but it's Kirk Cousins. You're going up against Seattle. The defense, just no thanks. Especially on this tight end slate. I think we can do a little bit different. I've got a couple plays for you later on if you could just hold your horses, but don't click Kyle Pitts this week. Come on, guys. We got to be better.
Dude, I've seen people say that, because people get onto Kyle Pitts because he had a good game last week. It was the Jets. Jets. And with no Drake London. Yeah, no. There are so many, there are so many good tight end options. I'm going to have a ton of tight end in the flex this week.
Yeah.
I want to do running back in the flex, but it gets too expensive. But I'm going to have a ton of tight end in the flex for my cheap guys. And there's probably double-digit tight end guys that I'm comfortable starting at tight end this week. So there's no way I'm starting Kyle. Kyle Pitts does not make that list.
Yep. Darnell Mooney's 4,800. I just want to bring him up if you are punting at wide receiver. I think there's better plays, but 5,900 on FanDuel. So the rest of this game, there's not much else outside defense. Seattle, $4,800. They will get played because what happened last week.
Yep.
30 burger against Max Brosmer, who's God's gift to Big Ten football, who just, wasn't very good in college and for whatever reason thought they were better than J.J. McCarthy, and just sometimes you got to be better. So DraftKings, he is, if I could pull it up, he's 4K. So if you want to pair him with Walker, if you want to play him with JSN, I think that's definitely viable, but it does get a little, you're probably going to punt at wide receiver with some of those options that we talked about. So, but anything else on this game?
Yeah, I was on the Seahawks defense, like pricing is tight this week. It's hard to get to those top defense. Like when you're doing your defense, you've only got maybe $100, maybe $200 to play around with. It gets really tough to pay up to those top Seahawks Broncos. And I don't even like the Broncos. We'll talk about them in a little bit. So yeah, it's hard to really pay up a defense this week.
Yep. So before the next game, we do have a question. Appreciate you tuning in. And for anybody else, if you have any questions, make sure to drop them in. We'll get them taken care of. So Bijan, Tyler Warren, or Jonathan Taylor and Juwan Johnson have Tyler Shuck as my quarterback. So I think this is Bijan and Tyler Warren, just because I really like Tyler Warren's matchup, but I understand.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I like Tyler Warren a lot more than Johnson. And yeah, I'm kind of down on JT, so I'm okay with, because I think, like you said, I think Bijan can get through the passing game. So I would kind of lean that side, but it's close.
Yeah, I think the Bijan dump offs is what's probably going to get there to keep Bijan up with JT. I think JT will have a good game today. I think people have forgotten about him. We just talked about that. But Tyler Warren, I just think has so much bigger ceiling than Juwan Johnson today as it stands. So I think that's the way I would lean. So appreciate you tuning in.
It really comes down to, do you think Tyler Warren can score a touchdown? Because if you do, that's one touchdown that JT's not scoring. Like, how many touchdowns are the Colts going to get? Maybe 3 at the most. I don't think this is going to be, like, you're not playing Tennessee this week. This probably isn't going to be a 3-touchdown game for JT. So if you think Warren gets a TD, then I think you kind of smash that side. Right.
So appreciate you tuning in. Next game here, it's a doozy. We've had a couple of these. So Tennessee Titans. Go to Cleveland, play the Cleveland Browns. So I will let you. There ain't much to analyze here, but I'm sure you could find. I'm sure you were able to find something.
There is not. Tennessee on the road, 3.5-point underdogs, which is stunning that they're only 3.5-point underdogs. Yeah. 34 is the total in this game. 15.25 implied for Tennessee, 18.75 implied for Cleveland. The only question is here, Quinshon Judkins is probably a smash cash game play because he's going to score 2 touchdowns and he's going to get 20 points. No more, no less. He's not a tournament play. He's a cash game play only. And the question becomes, do you want to bring him back with the pay up for the Cleveland defense? Because I think they're the 4th or 5th highest price defense. That's the only question. That's the only thing you're going to in this game. Maybe Harold Fannin a little bit. But otherwise, there's nothing. And again, if you're starting anything on the Tennessee side other than just an ultra cheap, like I'm okay taking a 0 from Gunnar Helm just to fit the rest of my lineup in. That's the only thing you're doing on the Tennessee side.
Yeah. Titans defense 3,400. They are, I believe, bare minimum on DraftKings. I do think they're viable just because Shador takes sacks and the Browns offensive line has not been good. They're not minimum. They're 2,900.
No, they're mid-priced. They're 2,900 on DK.
Not playing. Speaking of DK, I'm not playing wide receiver DK. I'm not playing Imanor.
Nope.
Gunnar Helm had some moments last week. I kind of was very eye-opening to hear you vouch at last week, and I don't want to say you got there, but
no,
it was definitely a good process. So
he paid his price. He paid off his price.
Yes. So Fannin has just taken over Judy as far as the tight ends go. I do think that he is viable today. He does not have. You're hoping for a touchdown. And he's 3,700 on DraftKings. He is 5,300 on FanDuel. I don't really love Judkins. I'd rather just play defense. I'm fine with Titans defense if that's where you need to go and kind of move on. Browns as well, but I just feel like we've seen it with Judkins. We know exactly what he is. He's going to have to get in the box twice. And
in this game, he's going to score 2 touchdowns, rush for 80 yards. No more, no less.
Yep. So that's easy enough. If anybody else has a question, they can ask it, but I'm not playing Jerry Jeudy. I'm not playing Tillman. So next game here, the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels comes back. We have Terry McLaurin in his second week going on the road to Minnesota. We get the return of God's only son, J.J. McCarthy, and sets up against this Commanders defense that has been absolutely abysmal. So Commanders at Vikings, what do you got for this one?
This game has flipped. This open is a Minnesota 2-point favorites, and it's now flipped to Washington as a 1-point favorite. I assume because Jaden Daniels is eventually going to play. So Washington by 1 on the road, 43.5 is the total. So 22.25 implied for Washington, 21.25 implied for the Vikings. You're going to kick me off the show, but I'm kind of interested in J.J. McCarthy. It's just a super contrarian option this week. I'm
not going to kick you off the show, but let's talk about it. I'm going to see if I can talk you off this ledge because I've tried this.
It's a bet on the Washington defense. And again, we'll talk about this when we get to Denver. They played a lot of snaps last week. They played an overtime game on Sunday night, played a lot of snaps. It's a bad defense to start with. McCarthy had the week off to kind of, he was probably had headaches, so I don't know how much he was watching. But he was on the sideline, so sometimes these guys just got to clear their head, take a week off. I think the concussion was a good chance for him to kind of get a reset. So I'm like, he's not a cash game viable. He's not going to be a staple of my life, but I do want to have a McCarthy stack just because the Washington defense is so bad. And again, I'm going to go back to TJ Hutchison because he kind of started getting going last week. He paid off his price last week. He's still super cheap. Washington is brutal against tight ends. I've been making this point all year. So I kind of want to have a Jefferson, McCarthy, Hutchinson double, maybe something like that. It could be Addison too. It's just a bet on the Washington defense being bad, having to play a bunch of snaps on Sunday night, and then having to go on the road.
I understand that. See, you came up with a big huff before you talked, and I feel like I had to come up with a big gasp of air before I discuss this. I get that the Commanders' defense is bad. J.J. McCarthy is just so much worse, I think.
Okay.
I know. I'm
Mr. glad you think that because that's going to make it super contrarian. And that that makes me feel better about it.
Justin Jefferson is 8,100, so you are going to pay for that. And trust me,
I don't love that.
I get it. I think I would rather play Addison personally if I was going to go that way. And if I was going to play McCarthy just because of how cheap he is, I think I'd only have one wide receiver personally. However, if you want to get contrarian, you bring two along for the ride, Addison and Justin Jefferson. Addison is 4,900 on DraftKings. We've seen they've attempted the bomb a couple times with Addison. He's had a couple drops. McCarthy kind of misses them. There's a spot for it. I totally get it. On the other side, I was really interested in Jaden Daniels until I saw that the Vikings pass defense has not given up a touchdown in over a month, I believe is what the stat was. They've been rock solid.
Well, I mean, again, we talked about it before. It's the both Seattle and Green Bay have basically shut down their offenses for the better part of a half because they haven't needed to throw the ball at all. So I'm not going to read too much into that number.
that is fair. So, but Terry McLaurin looked pretty good. He looked like he was kind of the spark that the Commanders offense really needed. 6,600 on FanDuel, DraftKings. He's going to be 5,200. I'm really into him today, especially on a one-off. Jaden Daniels. I know people are excited to play Josh Allen. We have Lamar, but we've seen the ceiling on Jaden Daniels. 6K, I think, is very viable. If you want to play him and Ertz, or if you want to play him and Debo, I think that's definitely in play too. And I don't think you necessarily have to have a bring back as far as the Minnesota stuff if you're going to play a Washington stack. Jaden Daniels, 8,500 on FanDuel, so pretty pricey coming right back in there. So Debo, I think he's 7,400 on FanDuel, 5,500 on DraftKings. I think he's fine. Zach Ertz, the one and only Mr. Statue himself, 4,500 on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel he is 5,200. So I like Commander stuff here. Any interest in the running backs on either side?
Aaron Jones a little bit in the fact that it's more that like Jordan Mason has really gotten shadow realmed. But again, I'm not getting to Aaron Jones because there's just so many running back options I like this week. It's really hard to get to him. Honestly, there's so many guys I like. I mean, he's cheap, he's affordable, but man, there's so many running backs I like. It's like, yeah, is this where it's the opportunity cost of Jordan Mason or Aaron Jones more than anything.
Right. Which Mason ends up being more expensive than him on DraftKings, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but what do I know?
Maybe that was the questionable thing because of the shoulder. Obviously, the prices came out on Monday, and we still didn't know much about that. So that makes no sense at all.
No, it does not. So defense-wise, I will bring up both of them here. Vikings end up being 3K on DraftKings, and then the Commanders, if I could pull this up, 2,800. So they're bottom of the barrel on DraftKings. I feel like they're definitely going to get played over there, and I think they should.
That's fair, yeah.
So I get it. The Commanders' defense has been bad, but God, I've watched J.J. McCarthy attempt to play professional football, and it's like he gives Nathan Peterman a run for his money as far as Commanders.
It's not pretty. It's not pretty.
So I get anything else on this game. I don't think so, but
no, I think like I say it's now that McLaurin's back and seemingly healthy, it really kind of dusts Debo. He's clearly the number one there, and yeah, I'm not. I just can't. I can't get there on Chris Rodriguez when there's so many options at running back this week. So, Vikings Washington has been pretty good against running backs. Vikings have not, but I think that's more situational than anything. I don't think they're like a terrible run defense. So, yeah, if I'm playing anything on the Washington side, it's McLaurin.
Yep. So seems like you are on the Vikings side and I'm on the Commanders side of the battle of who sucks more ass. So we will find that. We'll find out here in a couple hours here. So next game, New Orleans Saints go on the road to Tampa. Unfortunately, no Mike Evans. I thought there was a pretty good chance. We do have Bucky Irvin back after a big week last week. So I think there's a lot to like on this game, but Saints on the road face Tampa Bay here.
Yes, we got the Saints 8.5-point road dogs here. 42 is the total, so 16.75 implied for the Saints and 25.25 implied for Tampa. You mentioned Bucky. He looks back to full health. He looked really good last week, so I like him a lot in this game. I kind of have some interest in Ibuka. I know people are kind of getting souring on him, but he's gotten 8 targets each of the last 2 weeks. He's still got his role in the offense. It's just it's been that Baker's been really inconsistent with the shoulder injury. Seems like that's getting better. So if Ibuka's going to be contrarian, I want to have some of that action. And then the question on the Saints side is how healthy is Chris Olave? Sounds like he's going to play. So that's good. Assuming he plays, I think this is a game that could, I think this game could smash the over. I think we could see good offense in this game, assuming Olave is available. And this back injury, we're not hearing much about it from the Saints side. So, this could be one of those things that's just, this is a Rappaport, Adam Schefter just kind of overblowing something that's not that big a deal, right. Which I kind of hope because I do a lot of Olave this week and I like him very much in this matchup. And then, Juwan Johnson, I think, is interesting on the Saints side as well. Tampa's so bad against tight ends. So another tight end with a really good matchup. So in a game where I think they're going to have to throw a ton. And then the question is on Devin Neal. It's like, he's cheap. He's going to have a role, but it's. I don't think he's the guy that you can use. When the Bucs give up yards on the ground, they're really good run defense. When they give up yards, they're kind of getting gashed, like what James Cook did. I don't think Devin Neal's that kind of guy. So, I don't. I know he's going to be he's kind of the low price guy that people are going to go to on the running back side just because pricing is so tight this week, but I don't necessarily love it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on Devin Neal. He's just kind of like the Alvin Kamara play. Even though he gets volume, he's probably not going to get in the box. And at the end of the day, he gets high end 10 to 12 points off that. And it just doesn't feel good. So I really like Bucky Irving this week. You talked about to kick this off. He ends up expensive, especially on FanDuel. He just goes straight into the 8K. Well, he's 7K on DraftKings and 8K over on FanDuel. It seemed like they were going to try to ease him in, and then the minute he stepped on the field, they saw that he was fine, and then they just went right to him. I mean, Sean Tucker kind of got pushed to the side. Rashad White goes back to his kind of like weird normal role that he has. He still has a role, but great spot for Bucky going up against the Saints. And I think Tyler Shuck has been better than advertised, which is not saying much because there wasn't much to be excited about. But I mean, I think he's been serviceable. I think he's been fine, and I think he can keep this afloat for him. So 4,600 on FanDuel or DraftKings, excuse me, 6,600 on FanDuel. Olave, he's just never a guy that I'm going to click, but I do think that he sets up nice. His back hurts from carrying this offense all season. I think that's the report that I saw.
Exactly.
So 7,600 for him on FanDuel, 6,500 on DraftKings. Now that I got my words correct, I do think that this can hit the over, just like you said. The one guy I really do like, and I don't think is going to get played, is Chris Godwin. He came out the first couple weeks, hasn't looked great. I thought his box score should have been bigger last week. He has 5,300 on DraftKings, and then FanDuel, he is 6,100. I'd rather play him over Igbuka because I think Igbuka is going to get played a little bit. And just ever since, Godwin came back, and seems like Emeka's had some injury too, so he just hasn't been near as good as he was to start the year. If you want to play both those guys with Baker, I think that is viable. We were really excited to play this throughout the season. Once he got hurt, his price gone down. He's 7,900, and that's a pretty clear path for him to have the doubles before they play, I believe, Thursday night, and then they'll end up having Mike Evans back. So, K. Dotton, I would assume, is a no for both of us. And then
too many tight end options to have to feel like you need to slow him down to K. Dotton.
Yeah. The one thing, I believe Tristan Wirfs is out for the Buccaneers offensive line, which is a pretty big deal. Yeah. So I will check that and make sure before you do anything. But before you get too excited, because I pretty much was when I saw this. But Buccaneers defense, 4,600. Are you playing any Saints defense today? I'm assuming not. Yeah. 4,600 on FanDuel, DraftKings for Buccaneers defense. They are 3,600. So next game, talked last week about Devon Achane. He hits big. He sets up for another nice matchup here. The Dolphins on the road to the New York Football Jets. Before we talk about the game, I have to issue an apology to the only 100-yard receiver last week, Adonai Mitchell. I apologize for dumping on you. I apologize for not giving you any street cred. I'll be better. And that's all I got to say about that. So, Dolphins at the Jets.
It was not lost on me last week that the two receivers that I kind of dumped on the most were Alec Pierce and Adonai Mitchell, and they ended up being the two best receivers on the slate. So, yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. Miami 2.5-point road favorites here against the hapless New York Jets, who did win against Atlanta last week. 41 is the total, so 21.75 implied for the Dolphins, 19.25 implied for the Jets. I sweet baby love both the running backs in this game. I'm going to have a ton of Devon Achane this week. I'm going to have a ton of Breece Hall this week. I don't care what else happens. I think a lot of people are going to jump to 80 Mitchell. Good luck. Have fun. We made what did he have, like 3 catches on 13 targets or something like that? Yeah, that's going to regress at some point, but it's also going to regress back. I mean, he's not going to get as hyper targeted as he was. I think especially in this game where it's going to be all through Breece Hall. Yeah, I love Breece Hall this week. Really love Devon Achane this week. He's my most drafted, most rostered. I think he's my number one player this week. So I'm hitting the running backs in this game, and I'm going to leave the rest for someone else to take.
Yeah, Achane is starting to get into that like Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, just a tier below. I mean, his workload, he's looked really good. He was my flag pack last week. He sets up nice again. I will do that just because I feel like I've whiffed like the last couple weeks on flag plants, so I will pat myself on. The AD Mitchell thing, if you do it once, shame on you. Do it twice, shame on me, or however that line goes. I just have fun. Him, John Mechie. There's some other. We have like punt wide receiver plays. We have Luther Burden, Michael Wilson on FanDuel's 5,700. You just don't have to play Jets wide receivers. I'm letting you know. You don't have to do Mason Taylor. We don't have to do Tyrod or Tyrod. You just don't have to. Two other things do need to talk about. Darren Waller came out guns blazing, then kind of cooled off last week. He's 3,800 on DraftKings. FanDuel, he is 5,100. I cannot believe we are talking about Darren Waller in December of 2025, but here we are. And then Waddle, I think, is very interesting, a little contrarian off of the Achane stuff. He is 6,700 on FanDuel. DraftKings, he is 6,800. It's in this wide receiver range of just right below the cutoff, like him, T. Higgins, Emeka Buka, Jacoby Myers, and then like Michael Wilson. He's in that tier. I think he's been fine. I said last week you could play Tua with these guys. You cannot. Tua just does not get there. So, and Dolphins have been on like a win streak. They've quietly been very good over the last month. I know the competition's not been great, but they have been winning. So, last thing, Dolphins defense 3,300. Jets defense can't get a turnover to save their life. So even if you want to play for the Jets, like you hope they pitch a shutout because I don't think they have any interceptions on the year, which I think is pretty crazy as a stat to think about. Just a weird variance, and Dolphins 3,800 on FanDuel. So anything else on this game? I
just wanted to run through Achane's yards from scrimmage. So if you go back to the Jets game, which was in last weekend in September, 101 there. Then he had a bad week, 46 against Carolina. Since then, 150, 98, 91, 106, 225, 165, 134. He is their offense.
Yep.
So, and it's an offense that's playing pretty well. Other than Tua's interceptions, which he does like a couple of every game, it's an offense that's playing pretty well. Like Mike McDaniel, I think, should be their coach next year. Even without Tyreek Hill, I think they're doing a pretty good job. So, yeah, Achane's just such a smash.
Yeah, it's just sometimes it's just the easy button. Jonathan Taylor,
exactly.
Bijan, not in the best spots, and then you have Achane here that can do it twice in a row. So I definitely like him. I won't flag playing him this week because I did that last week. It was kind of cheating, but I needed it. So, but next game,
players got to do what a player's got to do.
Right. So this feels like 16-13 written all over it. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, career criminal, him and Mike Tomlin going on the road to Baltimore. I know Baltimore did not look great in the box score. The game film, it looked like it was pretty close to being better than what it ended up being. But Steelers at the Ravens, AFC North, division showdown. One of these teams might win the North if anybody wants it. It doesn't seem like anybody does. But what are we feeling about Steelers at the Ravens?
Yeah, the annual AFC North rock fight. Pittsburgh is a 5.5-point road dog. 43.5 is the total. So 19 implied for the Steelers, 24.5 implied for Baltimore. I do like Derrick Henry this week. Man, nobody's in on Lamar. Everybody's just completely shit talking Lamar. I feel like I need to have some exposure. Like, I don't want anything to do with their passing game other than maybe the tight ends. I want nothing to do with Flowers. I want nothing to do with Bateman. It's just Lamar is too cheap. He's going to be too underowned. Yeah, I know he doesn't look good. I get it. I know he hasn't played well. I get it. But it's not like I'm not starting a fantasy lineup that needs to get to, that needs to win this week to get into the playoffs. I'm playing DFS. I'm shooting for ceiling here. And man, that the Lamar ceiling is still there. So I think he's going to be so underowned because he's playing poorly, because of this game. Like you said, this game traditionally turns into like a 16-13 rock fight. I just want to have some Lamar just because this is a path to winning a tournament.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. It's just I would rather be early than late. And watching the game last week, I know Zay Flowers sucks as a fantasy wide receiver, but he should have gotten there last week. He had a penalty on a touchdown.
Yep.
He had like a drop. Like some real weird stuff happened. And I'm not saying that the offense is back. They just extended Mark Andrews to a 3-year extension. I'll be very honest. I didn't realize Mark Andrews had 3 years left in him. But
I think Baltimore's the only one who thinks that.
I saw that and I was like, 3 years? Like 3 years of what? Coaching? No, hell no. He's got another 3 years. He's got that dog in him. So, I mean, it's him. It's Mark Andrews. Zay Flowers, I don't think anybody's going to play. And to be quite honest, I don't blame you. Like, it ends up being, if I could type real quick, Jesus. 6,100 on DraftKings. FanDuel, he ends up being 6,900. I do think that he is viable. I think it's a fun tournament play. Going up against the Steelers defense has been very wishy-washy. Last week, Aaron Rodgers throwing a fit about his wide receivers and tight ends because they don't do the right thing. I mean, Aaron, let me tell you something, pal. All you've done this last 3 years is dump offs and tear your Achilles. Like, do not come up to the press conference telling everybody else what to do when all you've done in life is just bitch and complain about everything, asshole. So I just yelling at my dog Jonnu Smith for running the wrong route. You couldn't even get the ball to him if you tried. Like, it's just ignorant asshole. So
he's got a 2-second time to throw. He throws the ball like 1, 2, it's out. But there's you can't trust DK Metcalf because you can't. They never let deep routes set up. There's no chance for anything. The only chance DK Metcalf has is that he takes a slant over the middle and houses it, which isn't going to happen that often because now everyone knows that's the only way that DK is going to beat you. So,
right.
Yeah, it's just that Pittsburgh offense is just completely non-functional outside of Jalen Warren.
No. So, Derrick Henry, I know you talked about being interested in him. It is December. This is the time he starts rolling. Pretty expensive, $8,700 still on FanDuel DraftKings, which he'd probably be more of a FanDuel play anyways, but $7,500 for the big dog there. So it's kind of with you on Lamar Jackson. I'd rather be early than late. It's coming and saying Zay Flowers is viable just seems so tough. So it just talk about the rock fight defenses. I will bring them up here. Ravens 3,500, Steelers down at the bottom 2,600 for DraftKings, and then FanDuel. It's probably going to be more of the same, two mid-tier price defenses. Baltimore 4,500, a little too expensive. Good grief. And then Steelers 3,600. So I don't have any interest in Jalen Warren or Kenneth Gainwell. There's the game next I'd rather play. So unless you got anything else, we'll play this last game of the early slate. So last one here, and this is a big one. If I could pull this up real quick. Buffalo Bills at home against the Bengals. Seems like we're going to get some snow, but this is a game that a lot of people are excited to play. So what do you got for the big one here in the early window?
The Cincinnati Bengals are 6-point road underdogs here. 53.5 is the total. So the highest total of the games that have yet to be played this week. So 23.75 implied for the Bengals, 29.75 implied for Buffalo. Smorgasbord for DFS. Just name a player on this team, not named Mike, or in this game, not named Mike Gesicki, and I probably like it. Honestly.
I'm right there with you. I will say this: Josh Allen ends up being very chalky at 9,200, and on FanDuel and then DraftKings, he's going to be 7,700. I cannot believe that we are going to get God's gift quarterback back on this DFS slate, and he's probably going to go under-owned in Joe Burrow.
I know.
Oh my God! You get T. Higgins back. You get Jamar Chase. They have not played since week 2 together. Going up against this Bills defense has been abysmal for the majority of the year. People are excited to play Josh Allen when they just ran 35-plus times with James Cook last week. And I understand the Bengals defense can't tackle. Bills defense can't tackle either. I like everything, but I definitely think there's a different path than the field where people are really excited to play Josh Allen against the Bengals defense. I'm excited to play Joe Burrow and his players against the Bills defense. So James Cook and Chase Brown are both in really good spots. I think a lot of people are scared off Chase Brown because Samaje Perine has gotten a lot of work. I get that. That's fine.
I'm not worried about it.
No, I tournament-wise, I'd rather play Chase Brown at less ownership, even though I know that James Cook is in a monster spot. James Cook is going to be 20% plus owned. I mean, unless you think a little bit more, he's probably going to be in that.
Probably. Yeah, I would say early 20s, low 20s, something like that. Yeah, 20, 25. I think so.
Defenses, both defenses are terrible against the tight end. Dalton Kincaid I believe he's going to try to play I guess they're going to try to amputate his leg at this point. It's every single week for three years now of Dalton Kincaid, but he's in a nice matchup. It'd be him and Shakir if you want to pair him with Josh Allen. I think I'd rather just play Kincaid and James Cook with Allen. Gets a little pricey pretty quick. So is there a specific way you want to play this game? I know you said everybody, but if you want to pick
mostly through Cook. I really love James Cook in this game.
Yeah.
I kind of like doing the Allen Cook. It's expensive, but I don't mind doing Allen Cook. I remember those, like they've gotten there multiple times this year. So I don't mind doing that. I want to play Kincaid, but I just don't think he's healthy. And that's what really worries me. And I think that's going to be really chalk. If he does try to play, and that like a limited Dalton Kincaid is not a good player. It's just
no,
he's not someone who's going to threaten a defense. So, yeah, I'm okay playing. So I'm totally okay playing Allen naked. But like I said, I think Allen's gonna be really kind of under owned. I don't know why. I think people are going to go to Stafford. I think people are going to go to Baker. So I think Allen may get under owned for it's like he's the only kind of elite quarterback on this slate who's like healthy and playing like an elite quarterback. So I think Allen his ownership should be more than it's going to be. So I do want to play some Allen, and I think Allen Cook, if you want to get contrarian, is kind of the way to go.
Yeah. So I just honestly I love this through the Bengals side.
I'm with you.
I'll make my claim to fame here. I think Bengals win outright today. I know I've tried to do that a couple times. I think the Bengals have a shot to win the AFC North, and I know people are going to be kind of eyeballing that, but I know defense sucks, but if they can just be on the right side of variance when they score 40 points a week, I think that they can get there. I don't believe in Pittsburgh or Baltimore at this rate, but I'll
say if they win this game, then I think it's in play. I think this is they have zero margin for error. They have to win this game.
Right.
I think, but yeah, if they win this game, I think it's in play.
So, Joe Burrow is probably going to be under 10% owned. He's probably going to end up my flag plant for this week. Just kind of give that out there. But Jamar Chase is going to get played. I think T. Higgins is going to go under owned, and that's the way I kind of want to go through it. I know that you can beat the Bills on the ground, but I just think it's Joe Burrow, and he's probably just going to pass it because that's what he does, and he does not care about anything else in life instead of sitting back in shotgun and letting it rip. So
if Chase Brown does get there, I think it's through the air. I think it's on dump offs.
Yep. So I love those guys. And then I'd just bring it back with James Cook here. I think Dalton Kincaid is fine. I like him. I wish he was a little more healthier for this matchup, but that's just kind of my thought process going through that there. So I don't think we're playing any defense in this, but is there anything else you like in this game?
No, I am absolutely not playing either of these defenses.
No. So that should be it for the early window. If you have any questions, make sure to like and subscribe. Drop those in the chat. We'll get those taken care of for you as well. So 3 games left. We got a couple decent ones, and then we got this one coming up here. So Denver Broncos, Bo Nix, the most boring ass. Make me want to headbutt a pencil every time I watch Bo Nix play football in 2025. But they are on the road going to Las Vegas, play the Raiders, who also they're terrible. I don't know how else to say it. So if there's anything to say about this one, please enlighten me. But I don't know if there's much for Broncos and Raiders here.
This will be my upset special of the day. Denver is an 8-point favorite on the road here. 40.5 is the total. So 24.5 implied for Denver, 16.25 implied for the Raiders. Denver just played 85 defensive snaps on Sunday night. Now they got to go on the road again for a second straight week. That's tough, man. We saw what happened to Detroit after they had to play all those snaps. Obviously, this is not a Thursday game, but they had to play all those snaps 2 weeks ago against the Giants, and then they looked tired against the Packers on Thanksgiving Day. This is really like they had to play on the East Coast late Sunday night, had the overtime. You got to fly home. You don't get home till like 4 a.m. That's really like these guys are elite athletes, but that's really tough to recover from, especially when you had to play that many snaps, that many stressful snaps. So I think this is a game that's probably going to go under owned, and I love Bowers this week. I like Genty this week. I think that defense is going to be tired. And a lot of people are going to have the PTSD from that just disgusting Thursday night game about a month ago. What was that game? 10-7 or something like that?
Yes.
So, yeah, I like the Raiders in this game. I think there's a good chance that they pull an upset here. And I think they will. I think you're going to have an opportunity to get under-owned Raiders because nobody's going to play them against nominally the best defense in the league. But I think this is a good spot for them.
Yeah, they talked about this week about getting Brock Bowers more touches, and we know the ceiling for Brock Bowers. He ends up 7,300 on FanDuel compared to 8,600 for Trey McBride, who Trey McBride is kind of quietly getting into that. Is he worth the price type of
It's really close to him getting too expensive.
Yeah, so $6K on DraftKings, I think he's viable. I'd rather play him than Genty personally on this running back slate. I do like some other running backs better than Genty, but Genty is like the one-man show in town. He's going to get work. 6,800 on FanDuel. DraftKings, he ends up being 6,100. I'm not really interested in Trey Tucker. I don't know if there's any other wide receivers for the Raiders that could be playable at this point. Broncos, we saw Cortland Sutton get there last week finally, but God. is a great matchup for the Raider or the Broncos offense, but I've seen Bo Nix, him and JJ McCarthy. You just put them in a blender, and that's just like the perfect mix of god awful quarterbacks. And Bo Nix is like kind of expensive. He's 6,100. I mean, that is a lot of money to pay for Bo Nix. So RJ Harvey's fine. He's not really looked good, but he's getting the goal line work. So 6,500 on FanDuel, DraftKings, 5,700. He's got him getting the box twice, but the workload just kind of, Pat Bryant was on the field more this week, finally, but I just, ugh. I think it's Brock Bowers for me, and that's probably about it. But is there anything on the Broncos that you like?
I mean, yeah, I kind of like Bone. Like if
I know
if the Raiders do what I think they can do, then I think if they can push Broncos, then I think I kind of like Bo Nix. I'm okay playing him naked as a bring back, because I think he can get there with his feet and doesn't necessarily like Troy Franklin had like totally taken over the target lead, and now the last 2 weeks it's been Cortland Sutton. So again, this is kind of like the Jags running backs, where I don't know what to do. I guess Nix is a bring back I'm kind of interested in. Otherwise, not really. Maybe Harvey. Harvey could get there through the air on dump offs, but it's really tough to trust him.
Yeah, it's just on paper. I mean, we should be all over this Broncos, and I feel like this might be the large field play that kind of takes down the Millie Maker this week that nobody wants to play. It's very obvious, but it's just so bad at the same time. We'll talk about defense, and then we'll get off of this game. But Broncos are right up there, 3,900 going up against Geno Smith, who's taken 1 million sacks this year. And then on FanDuel, they're 5K. I don't know if you want to play any Raiders stuff. I guess they technically are viable, 3,100. They would be probably the punt play. Them and possibly the Titans in that kind of realm. The Raiders, 2K on DraftKings. So I feel like they're definitely going to get some play against Bo Nix. So it makes sense to play this game, but God, it's just terrible. So is there anything else in this game before we get to greener pastures these next 2 games?
Set Raiders at Stone Min defense on DK. If you're okay with I'm going to take a flyer, I'm going to take a shot. I could sit. This is a Denver team that could be really tired, so I can see them kind of laying an egg. So yeah, I don't mind that. It's just okay. I'm okay taking 0 if I need to, but I just want to spend the least minimum salary on defense.
Yep. So next game, we got 2 left. We've got the Los Angeles Rams, big road favorites, divisional game going to Arizona. No Marvin Harrison Jr., no Greg Dortch. They are both on IR, so we will get the Michael Wilson show again. Him and Trey McBride going up against this Rams team that coming off a really goofy loss against the Panthers where it seemed like they should have won, and just Panthers did enough and kind of hung around. So a very interesting game here, divisional game. Rams at the Cardinals. So what do you got here?
Yeah, this game is really kicked up. This opened at Rams -7.5. It's up to -10 this morning. So apparently Marvin Harrison makes that big of a difference. I'm not sure.
I was not aware.
47. Yeah, 47. The total has not changed. It's just the Rams have just gone from a touchdown favorite to basically a 2-score favorite here. So 47.5 is the total. 28.75 implied for the Rams. 18.75 implied for Arizona. We mentioned Trey McBride earlier. It's really, really pushing the line of being too expensive. I've been riding him for the last, 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever. But man, it just feels like, doesn't it feel like this Arizona offense is just, it's kind of like the housing bubble of 2008. It's like, man, this is not sustainable, right? They're not scoring the first half. It's basically all garbage time. It's all second half, just super negative game scripts, being forced to pass. And that is not sustainable. So everybody's going to have Michael Wilson this week, and probably deservedly so, especially in cash, because he's going to get a metric shit ton of targets. But God, I love Trey McBride, but it's so hard. I think they've actually crossed the line. I think it's more than I want to pay this week.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Wilson, especially on FanDuel at 5,700, he's going to be 469% owned. I mean, that's just this Cardinals stuff with Jacoby Brissett. This is like the Jaguars with Blake Bortles, where if you have him in fantasy, you have to close your eyes, and then you come back at the end of the game.
Don't
you'll
watch
see
the
where
game.
Yeah, just
don't watch the game
because it'll be third quarter and Jacoby will have like seven points, McBride, and then fourth quarter they all just like dump off. So it's pretty easy for the Rams stuff. It's Stafford, it's Puka, it's Devontae Adams. You probably bring it back with Michael Wilson. That's probably the only viable thing, but it just ends up being so expensive to play both Puka and Devontae Adams. So if you had one, those wide receivers, do you have a preference on who you'd play?
It's got to be Adams because he's like what the end zone target differential is like 20-2. That's
44% red zone target share right now for
Adams. So Adams is still cheaper. So until that flips, like this game we play is all about touchdowns, and Adams is getting him and Puka's not. So there's no reason that Puka should be $1,000 more than Adams. It's wrong. Not that Puka's elite. It's not that he can't get there. He hasn't. It's been all Adams, and I'm playing that until I'm proven wrong.
Yep. As far as running backs go, Kyron Williams, do you have any interest in him? I think that'd probably be a tournament play, if anything. But it's expensive. 8,200. God.
No, because they've talked about wanting to rest Kyron for the playoffs and get Corum more work, and Corum had a really good game last week. So, if I'm choosing between the two, I would rather pay down for Corum. Just pay way down for Corum, and there's
just kind of tough.
Fade Kyron.
Yeah. So Colby Parkinson's probably the last guy I'm going to bring up here. 5K on FanDuel DraftKings 3,100. I will say this: if I'm going to play a game, I'd rather play Bengals, Bills, and then just get a piece from this Rams. I think this Rams game. I think people are going to play Brissett. They've been doing that ever since he's showed up because he's going to get off 45 attempts, it feels like. But just as far as that goes, I think I'd rather play that and then get a piece of this Rams game. This game is way too expensive, I think, for what it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's there's a lot of pieces I want, but they're all expensive.
Right. So that's Rams defense, 3,800. I don't think I'm going to play Arizona's defense or lack thereof. But Rams defense, 4,700, they're expensive too. So I feel like this game is going to kind of get away from me outside of Michael Wilson, who'll end up getting played. So last game, the honorable mention here for your beloved Packers. So they are at home, big favorites against the Chicago Bears with no Rome Odunze. I wish somebody would have called and let me know. I had a plan without him this week, which is not fun. But Packers, big home favorites. It's going to be cold. It's Green Bay in December. So what do you got for this last game of Week 14 for the Bears and the Packers?
Yeah, this is the game that basically everyone in the country outside of the Rams and Cardinals markets is going to be able to see today. So Chicago 7-point road dogs here. Interesting. 44 is the total. So 18.5 implied for Chicago, 25.5 for the Packers. This game's fascinating, but this is a huge game. Like if the Bears win this game, I think they become better than a coin flip favorite to get home field in the playoffs in the NFC. They would have road wins against the Packers and the Eagles. This is a huge, like if the Packers win, they would win 4 in a row. And I think they would be kind of the vibes based favorite to get home field. So they play again in 13 days. This game got flexed from noon to 4:30 and then, or from 1 to 4:30. And then their game in 2 weeks got flexed to Saturday night. So they're going to play each other twice in less than 2 weeks. It's going to be a really interesting matchup. Stylistically, last week when the Bears ran all over the Eagles, they did it. It was a lot of zone runs to the edges. They stayed away from Carter and Davis. Packers are very good defending the edges against the run, but they're very bad up the middle. So they when they've struggled against the run, the Carolina game, the Giants game, the Cleveland game, it's been basically just between the tackles running. So if this game, if that's the way the Bears are going to attack, kind of like Kyle Monungai over DeAndre Swift, because that's kind of his forte, not Matt Forte. Speaking of the Bears, I would rather play it through Monungai. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Colson Loveland in this game off play action because the Packers are going to want to jam Evan Williams up to the line. And their linebackers are not great at getting zone drops. So I think this could be a big game for Colson Loveland. Packers side, like, I don't know if you know the narrative on this game, but when Ben Johnson got introduced as head coach of the Bears, he talked about how much he loved beating Matt LaFleur twice a year when he was in Detroit. And it's like, they asked LaFleur about it. He's like, I don't know, dude. It's like they didn't have, like, they've never coached together or anything like that. They've never done anything together other than be opposing coaches or opposing play callers. So, and then this week, like, LaFleur has kind of downplayed it, but Adam Stenavich, the offensive coordinator, got up on Thursday when they had coaches stuff and said, yeah, that means a lot to us. So I think this is a big deal. I think LaFleur has gotten the memo that the Packers are only going to go as far as Jordan Love can take them. And it's a message he should have gotten a long time ago, to be honest. It's a message that I was like banging the table. It's like, dude, coach the team you have, not the team you want. So I think LaFleur is going to be his bag today. I think they're going to go to Jordan Love. I like the Packers. They get Jaden Reed back. It's tough. Like, where are they going to get? That just makes it even more complicated. I still think it's going to go through Watson. Bears do play a pretty decent amount of man. I think they're like 5th or 6th in the league in man coverage rate. So that means it's a Wicks and Watson kind of game. So if I'm playing the Packers, I'm going to have some Josh Jacobs just because, you know, he can ball in the end zone 2-3 times and be the guy you have to have. But I don't think he's going to have like 150 yards rushing or anything like that. I think if I want to play the Packers, it's going to be through the passing game through Jordan Love.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan Love has been kind of on a heater when they let him. He ends up being 7,400 on FanDuel and then 5,900 on DraftKings. I think that's probably the most fun tournament play of the week. I don't think anybody's going to play. They're going to play Josh Jacobs. They're going to play Luther Burden. And then, I mean,
DJ Moore.
Yeah, which we'll get to that in a second. Jaden Reed, he's been a good fantasy football player or regular player, but like as far as fantasy football goes, he's had some moments, but I mean, he's been kind of brutal.
He's just so wildly inconsistent. He's massive ceiling, massive zero floor.
But that ends up getting really interesting as a tournament play. Christian Watson has been the guy. He goes from a deep threat only player to the number 1 wide receiver. I don't know if you had that on your, things of happening at pretty low ownership, but that Christian Watson ends up being 5,200, 6,200 on FanDuel here. So Dobbs is another guy who's not going to get clicked. I think that's very interesting. I know the Bears have gotten a little bit better on defense, but still the Bears. Like, Bears defense has not been good overall this year. So Dobbs is 5,800. If you could pick the correct two, I would say it's probably I will say Dobbs, and honestly, I'd take a chance on Jaden Reed. I know Watson will get played a lot, but like Jaden Reed gets like the end around stuff. He gets like some of the gimmicky stuff that could end up, kind of taking it. Like you said, for whatever reason, Ben Johnson kind of picks on Matt LaFleur and the Bears, and they're getting a little too high for their britches as far as the NFC North champs and number 1 seed right now. So, I mean, I can see the Packers just come back giving them a little nudge and saying, "Hey, this is who we are," and kind of put the Bears back in their bottle. On the Bears side, Luther Burden's going to get played a lot. I do not want to call him a gadgety player. That is not what he is. He's much more than that, but I think a lot of people are really excited to play him, and I just would be hold your horses. Can he get there? Yes. Do I think he's going to break the slate? I don't think so. I mean, they want to run the ball, and we saw that they ran for 400 million yards against Philadelphia a couple weeks ago. I think Monungai's a really fun tournament play that's not going to get played at all. And then Luther Burden's 5,100, 3,800 on DraftKings. Tight end Colston Loveland, he's still getting Cole Kmet treatment. It's not like been a perfect run out for him, but 3,200 on DraftKings. And then on FanDuel, he ends up being 5,200. Caleb Williams has been fine. He's been very sporadic. He doesn't take sacks, which I think he's going to take some today, but I mean, he's still kind of wildly inaccurate, but I don't think anybody's going to play him. As far as, obviously, if you're going to play Luther Burden, it's probably going to be a punt play. Do you have any Bears that you want to play as far as wide receivers go? I didn't even bring up DJ Moore.
I think you're right. I think Burden can pay off his salary just because he's cheap. But I don't think Packers have been very good against receivers. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's like smash break the slate kind of a guy. But he will be, like we said, wide receiver skank this week. After the top 4, it's just pay down. So I think he will be. He and Michael Wilson may end up being the two the two guys that end up with the highest ownership amongst wide receivers outside outside of those top four, just because they're going to be cheap and they're going to have volume. Yeah, I don't mind DJ Moore because I could see the Bears trying to do kind of some gadgety stuff, behind the bubble screens and stuff like that. And that's where kind of DJ Moore, that's what he does for them. Because this is a game that Micah Parsons hasn't been freaking elite. This is the game that you signed that you traded 2 draft picks, number 1 draft picks, that you paid a $44 million contract to Micah Parsons. Like, this is a game that you brought him in for to win. I don't think they are going to let Caleb just kind of sit in the pocket. I think anything they do passing game wise is going to be Loveland, middle of the screen or middle of the field, kind of tight end stuff, and then just kind of at the line of scrimmage. I don't think they want to let it. Yeah, Caleb is very good at avoiding sacks. He's got that Houdini kind of stuff that he does, but it's very different when you're going against Micah Parsons, who can run a 4.35. It's very different having that guy chase you down than some defensive tackle who runs a 5.6. So yeah, right. I don't think they're going to get a lot of downfield stuff going.
Yeah, and the one guy we didn't even talk about is probably the most played in this game, of course, Josh Jacobs, 6,800 for DraftKings. FanDuel, he's going to be, if this loads real quick, possibly, 8,600. He's expensive on FanDuel. I mean, this is the 2-touchdown kind of play here. I don't see him. That's kind of how we go about that. So as far as anything else on this game, any interest in defense? I know we both talked about Packers defense. I think it's kind of fun, honestly. 4K FanDuel. I know it's not the best spot, but I mean,
yeah, I think I'd rather go to the Browns, but if I need to save some salary, I'm okay going there. I'm not going to feel comfortable with it because I'm really nervous about this game. But objectively, if you weren't a Packer fan, I think that's probably a fine place to go.
Right. So that's I think that is it. I don't think I'll bring up DJ Moore's price real quick just because we didn't talk about him. 4,800 on DraftKings. FanDuel, he ends up being 5,600. Honestly, I'd rather play DJ Moore with his experience over Luther Burden, who is not like much more cheaper. Just kind of, and it gets different off the Luther Burden. People are excited to play Luther Burden. I'm not saying it's a bad play, but people are going to show up to this game like ready and motivated to play Luther Burden, who still kind of working his way into the offense. I mean, it's not like a cut. I mean, and they want to run the ball too. It's not like they want to spray and pray across the yard. So that's kind of my thought process there.
I'm getting AD Mitchell from last week vibes from the way you're talking, which terrifies me, but I think you're right.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Luther Burden's fine. It's not that he's a bad play.
Yeah, but I think he will pay off his salary because he's cheap. I think he will have enough targets. He will pay off his salary. Again, I don't necessarily think he's he's probably a fine cash game play. I don't think he's necessarily going to get there be the guy you need for tournaments.
Right. And if he breaks the slate, then we will come back next week and I will discuss it then. So that is it for week 14. Before we get out of here, flag plants. It seems like a much better week than last week, so I'll let you kick it off for flag plants for week 14.
Well, since you said you weren't going to take HN 2 weeks in a row, I'm taking Devon HN. I think he is the best player on the slate this week. Yep. He will be in most of my lineups.
Yep. So I'm right there with you. I'm not going to do it twice, but I'm in total agreement that I think that he sets up really nicely once again. My first flag plant, I think it's going to get pretty different. I think a lot of people are going to play this game, but the way they play it is much different than how I'm going to approach it. I'm going to say T. Higgins here. I think people are excited to play Josh Allen. I think they will play Jamar Chase. Gets very expensive. I want to play Joe Burrow. I'd put him on the flag plant, but I'm just going to say T. Higgins here. I think that's the way to get different. If you're going to play Bill stuff, you're just going to have one bring back. They'll play Chase automatically, and then T. Higgins kind of gets forgotten about here. I think he goes under 10%, and I think he smashes against Buffalo here. So love the Bengals stuff today. I said earlier I think they went outright, but I love the whole team, but I'm going to pick one. I'll pick T. Higgins here. So last flag plant for you.
I'm going with Brock Bowers. Like I said, I think the Denver defense is going to be tired. I think this is a great spot for him. I think he's going to be underplayed because there's a lot of good options at tight end. He's the second highest price behind Trey McBride. So yeah, I think he's going to get under. Again, people are going to be afraid of the Broncos defense. I don't think you should be this week. So yeah, I'm going to have a ton of Brock Bowers this week.
Yep. So I think it's a great play. Just a little bit cheaper than Trey McBride, and then you see the rest of the tight end field.
$2,000 cheaper than Trey McBride.
Kind of wild. So my last one for the week, I'm going to go with JSN. We talked about this wide receiver slate that is pretty ugly outside of the top couple people. You have some punt plays that you can fit him in. JSN has one bad week, and I think people are going to forget about him. Falcon's been absolute dog shit, and I just think that JSN just gets back to what he was, a borderline MVP player. So, and I don't think anybody's going to play him. So, JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba will be my second flag playing here. So, before we get out of here, let everybody know where they can find you and all your great work.
Right here every Sunday on Jameson's channel, and then you can find me sporadically at Club Fantasy FFL on their channel, and IDP Plus and Statement Games as well.
So, good deal. Make sure to check out Joel. I'm on Twitter machine as always at Jameson Rules. On the YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. Make sure that keeps the algorithm in check and all that stuff. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Week 14, your playoffs. Good luck to you. I know it's the last week. A lot of people are grinding, especially if you don't have Christian McCaffrey.
Best ball advanced Sunday too.
Yeah, or Drake May. You got best ball advancement stuff. A lot on the line. We've worked so hard this entire season, and it all comes down to this. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Good luck this week, and have a great week. Week 14. Good luck. Have a good one.